And here we are again. Hello, Vlad. How are you doing?
Hi, Jens. Really good. It's been kind of a long day, but I've been looking forward to this for quite some time.
Yeah, looking forward to explore the cocktail world today together with you. But before we go into this, for everyone who is new with this concept, this is the Innovation Culture Coding Show, and I have as well a little logo which is missing on top right, where I feature independent consultants and coaches who are working with innovative topics. And this is a window to the world for a lot of independent coaches and consultants. I want corporates and people who are working in corporates to discover innovation coaches and consultants, how I call them, in a very authentic way. And this concept is a new concept, which I have started, and I really want to keep that growing. And that's why we have as well added the sponsor. The sponsor of today's show is something where Vlad and I have been in the past. It's the College of Extraordinary Experiences. And this are our friends and buddies, you could say, who are sponsoring the show today. And I can highly recommend to have a look at our sponsor webpage, which you will find. Let me see where I can find the banner um, on the show page, which is literally this one. So heitlandinnovation.com/innovation culture coding. You will find Vlad's profile there where we post the videos, where we post clips, where we do the show notes. Everything of what we are talking today and exploring will be visible for all of you there. So have a look there, and as well have a look at the sponsors, and of course, last but not least, our partners. We have a lot of partners with us. The YouTuber Kit is our partner for YouTube. We have Shivi, which is our video producer. We have Urban Innovation, which is a network for urban connections, and the digital transformation, the 360 digital transformation. These are our partners of the show. And I am Jens Heitland. I'm the founder of Heitland Innovation and the host of the show. So, having said that, that's now the official thing done. Vlad, tell us a little bit about who are you and what are you doing for a living?
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you, Jens, for this opportunity. My name is Vlad. I am from Romania, and I have been passionate about cocktails, about mixology for the past 13 years. Started out as a bartender, fell in love with it, then moved on to competitions, won a competition in 2018 that allowed me to represent Romania globally. Then I started a job as a brand ambassador for a local importer, which then launched my career as it helped me learn first the idea of how to be a consultant and then launch my own firm in parallel. The experience as a brand ambassador helped me very much because in raising the brands that you represent, you have to consult with various venues and drink programs in order to help them grow so you can help grow your brands.
Yeah,
So that is a little bit about me.
it always sounds fun for me as German drink programs, which is like, yeah, there's a program to get drunk, but of course that's not
That's
not
just
what
the
it is.
purpose. That's just the purpose, Jens.
Yeah, awesome. So let's, and of course, as part of this concept of the innovation culture coding show, we are always deconstructing a case. But I see already we have a couple of people watching us live. So if you watch this live, please share it wherever you want to share it, and say hi from where you are, where you watch, and shout out to Vlad as well. We are always willing to answer questions. If you have questions in between, let us know. If you have questions in general, you can post them as well later in the comments. We will come back to the video recordings and answer them if we can, which I guess we can. So the case, what is the case? The case is a big franchisor. A franchisor, for those who are not into that, is a company that is owning the concept and is kind of looking for people who are running different things of that business in different countries, in different regions of the world. So this big franchisor is a franchisor for cocktail bars. they're looking for different partners and looking for different markets to enter. So what we have constructed is a case where a franchisor for cocktail bars is willing to enter the Romanian market. And of course, whom should they contact? Who should they hire to support them? They found out that Vlad is the expert for the Romanian market, and as well the expert for cocktail bars and concepts around it. So that's the case. They're looking for someone to help them. Vlad, how do you do that? How do you help them in establishing themselves into the Romanian market?
Well, first of all, after establishing a collaboration, you have to study your market very, very well. The study that you do on your market will determine your initial investment in the program that you are willing to make. For example, if you don't have any demand for the product that you want to sell, you need to create that demand. And if you have to create the demand for cocktails, let's say mixology in general, then you need to establish a loss for at least 9 months. So that is the starting point. You need to have 9 months in which you do the math, and all of the money that you're supposed to pay, rent, salary, merchandise, and so on, goes to your initial investment. So that's why it's incredibly important to study your market, because a lot of people don't do that. And after 2 or 3 months, they start wondering, why does it not work? Well, it's because there is no hype over your product. Nobody knows your product. Nobody respects your product. Thus, you need to work on creating an image for it.
Yeah.
Secondly, you need to establish an identity. All right. People have to be aware of who you are, what you want to do, what you represent. You need a very solid brand plan, and you need to pass that brand plan along. You need to summarize it in like 2 sentences max, pass that information to your staff so they are completely aware of who they're working for and what they're going to do. The entrepreneur and the staff need to have the same goal, so they are fighting for the same thing. If you go in Romania, for example, if you go into 90% of venues and you ask them, all right, what's the name of your venue? Let's say Buddha or whatever. Sorry. And they say, I ask, what is Buddha? And they say a restaurant or a bar, or they don't have a clear definition of what they're selling and what they represent. They are supposed to sell a lifestyle, an emotion, an experience. Going out to our sponsors, you need to create experiences. And in order to do that, you need concepts. In order to have an identity, you have to study every detail of what you represent. The difference between a good drinks program and a great drinks program is attention to detail. All right. So if every little part of the experience is authentic, then you can deliver the emotion. You can, you're on your way into becoming an experience. That is just like the first theoretical part.
Yeah. So how are you doing this? So this company, the big franchisor, is reaching out to you. You have never met them, most probably. They've heard about you, that you're the expert in this topic. So how do you convince them about yourself, that you're the right person, you're the right partner to do that with them in Romania? Let's start as early as that.
Well, being a brand ambassador for the past couple of years, I have studied drink trends all across the country. So I know what demand there is for their product. Thus, I can pinpoint into which year, for example, let's say Romania is in drink trends. Informatively, we're somewhere between 2010, 2011. So you need to focus on what the people are consuming and then try to sell your product. Me having a better knowledge of the market, And a very close relationship, that's one of the other perks of being a brand ambassador, is having a close relationship with the entire community. Thus, you have a understanding of what's going on nationally. Plus, I have some consulting experience in bars, restaurants that have a very stable drink program right now. And I think that we could do a very productive collaboration that way.
Yeah. So do you then go together with them in doing the market, studying the market, or how are you doing that?
You actually have international reports for each market, plus your own experience and how to interpret those reports. You have the International Wine and Spirits Report, which is the official document, let's say, for drink trends and actual sales of each type of drink and every brand per country. And there you can see what you have to start with. For example, you have a cocktail bar, right? You structure your drinks around vodka, let's say, which is a popular category in Romania. Then you see what are the normal mixers that people use, then you reinvent them into your own concept.
Yeah. So you're going from engaging with them, helping them to understand the market, seeing that's like the basic understanding of the market right now. These are the things that are working, and then you're kind of adjusting that to what it can be for them. So the identity part is something super interesting, where I think as well brands and places in general would benefit from an understanding that. So how do you go about helping, like, the person who is then running the event space or running the venue in building that identity? Or do you do that together with the franchisor? How is that working?
Well, usually, if they're a franchise, they have a very well-defined identity. The tricky part is in adapting it to your local market, because there might be some cultural differences that might turn people away from your product, let's say. So the main thing in an already established identity is adapting it to the Romanian market, let's say. And okay, you have the identity, you have now some knowledge about the market, but the difficult part is in getting the necessary staff from your local market to understand your concept, to understand your philosophy, and then implement it in delivery and in your final product.
Yeah.
And again, I can help with that also with some experience from the international market. After understanding the franchise, I have the cultural understanding of the staff here, and I can help better implement it so you can deliver the service.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
How can I imagine this happening? So they most probably look for, or you help them in understanding what are the different cities you could go into, what are the different venues in a local city, and then you go, okay, now we have chosen a venue which fits. There's an owner of it who is willing to take this concept on board. How are you then supporting them in, like, how do you support the owner as part of that?
You support the owner in an active collaboration inside his own venue. You don't just come and do 2 or 3 trainings with the staff. You present the concept and then you're on your way. No, you you have a collaboration in which you spend at least 2 or 3 months within the venue with the staff, guaranteeing, constantly observing and guaranteeing that they don't only implement it in the first part, that they have continuity in providing a quality service.
Yeah.
So active participation is the most important part.
Yeah, I was about to say, so you're literally going together with them, you're working with them, if I understand you right. Like you're doing cocktails, you're helping them understanding how this works, and maybe not as much as they do, but you're part of the team for a certain amount of time.
Clearly, every time you want something to work out, you have to be an active part of it. I mean, consultancy might sound like a little bit detached, like you're an observer, you just give advice. But in hospitality, in my opinion, you have to be there. You have to be part of the development of that program.
Yeah. So one part you said you do trainings. What is that about? How does that look like? How does that happen?
Well, first of all, you need to give them the knowledge to understand what they're actually doing.
Hmm.
And in order to make a cocktail, for example, you have to have knowledge of spirit production, of fermentation, of maturation, of there is incredibly a huge amount of knowledge about spirits, about alcohol in general, which we all love, of course. And you just make sure you do the trainings by making sure they know the basics first. Then you do applied trainings, workshops on the products that you're going to serve. You explain the philosophy of every product and every ingredient in turn. So when they go out to deliver, us, not only the bartenders, but the waiting staff as well, they have complete knowledge of everything that they're doing, and they have confidence, which gives them authority when serving every product.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's literally if I'm a guest in that venue, there's like a waiter coming to me and saying, "Hey," or it's like I have ordered already something and they're coming the next time and they can give me an understanding of when I'm asking them, it's like what we would be an interesting drink with that flavor or
Well,
whatever. They could go into that details and support me in understanding how this fits to the last drink and so on.
exactly,
If I understand you
exactly.
right.
They have to plan your entire experience. They have
Mm.
to have two or three ideas from what you're saying that puts you in a profile, a consumer profile. Thus,
Yeah.
they can make the recommendations. They can give a background story for everything that's being done within the venue, so it enhances your respect for that venue, and easily but surely it creates a memorable experience, because that's the thing. Most people think that in cocktail bars you deliver drinks. You deliver drinks, that's right, but mainly your goal is to deliver feelings, emotions. Because
Yeah.
I can give you the best drink in the world. I'll tell you the ingredients. I'll tell you the story. You'll love it. You'll be impressed. And then after you leave the venue in 10 minutes, I guarantee you won't remember all of the ingredients, but you will remember how you felt when you drank it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what makes you come back.
That's cool. So how do you do that from it's like I understand it when you are there as the consultant, you support them in really securing that everyone gets it. How do you secure that it is long term as well working? Like if you take a venue, they most probably have seasons and people are changing quite a bit. I don't know about the cocktail bar areas, but I just have seen in other business that there's like a staff turnover. So people who haven't been part of your trainings, they need to somehow get the knowledge from the others. How do you organize that?
Well, usually when you have a program in which you invest this much, when you have a steady salary, when you have easy working, it's hospitality, not easy working hours, but decent working hours. The entrepreneur usually, like most of which I work with, usually make you sign a contract in which you are employed for at least 2 years there, because they
Yeah.
invest in your growth. They invest in you as a professional. So your way of giving back is signing a contract for at least a year or two.
Yeah. So that the investment into the training, into all the different topics is as well worth it to do. I mean, if the person is gone in 4 weeks, then it's like huge investment into knowledge and education, and they take it with them, which one part is fine, but in the end, the business is not having the results out of that.
That happens a lot in the
Yeah.
hospitality industry. Yeah. I call them hospitality mercenaries. Because there are a lot of people that just go where it's best for them. They don't mind. They don't think of the entrepreneur, of the business, of the effort that they went through in order to sustain their growth. But most people are becoming aware of that as entrepreneurs, and they're having a safety net, which is those contracts. Also, when you plan a consultancy with a venue, it is not necessarily just for one menu. It's a drinks program, and that's why we call it a program, because it's for different seasons, different type of customers, different type of pairings with food or whatever. It depends a lot on the identity of the venue.
So, identity. How do you document the identity for them? How do you help them to document it?
You need to explain. You need to have a very transparent idea of the concept. The identity is within the concept. Let's say you want to do a Polynesian bar. Have you ever been to a Polynesian bar with tiki drinks and I don't know, grass skirts and stuff like that?
No.
Okay, let's say that's their identity. All right, they need to have a lot of rum. They need to have Caribbean style decor. They need to have people that understand some of the culture that is behind the concept, and all of those factors combined are the actual identity of the location.
And that's kind of what you teach them, what you kind of develop together with them. So it's like the franchisor has the idea, you adapt that to the local environment, to the country culture, and kind of change.
Exactly. We adapt it together so that it is not only an a good identity, but a credible one. People believe in what you're saying. People believe that what you're selling, what you represent, is authentic. And you need to work very, very hard on that idea, authenticity.
Yeah. How do you, in that part? So, from an innovation perspective, for me, there's always like validation moments where you talk to the people who are coming to the bar and see if it's resonating. You see like numbers going up or down, whatever is happening. How do you work with that topics?
How do you know if your venue is on the right path or not?
Yeah.
Well, that's very simple. You see it in on guests' faces. You see it in their happiness. You see it in the hospitality that you provide, and you do that again by being very attentive to details. From the first step that your customer guest puts inside your venue, that is already for you an opportunity to provide a service. He or she doesn't have to sit down and order to actually feel like they're part of something that is really nice. No, you need to customize your experience. So you have a sort of welcome, you have a card, you have a trinket that you give them to take home. Every step that they take into your venue is a detail that can help you add value to your venue so that they come back. And that's how you actually measure it. That's your scale, the happiness, and when they come back. Costs, profit, that's something you study with the entrepreneur. And but that's a very good way of telling you're on the right path.
Yeah. It's quite funny because when you work with tech companies, it's also like people are coming back is one of the most important metrics to understand that it's working or not. Because
Exactly.
if people are coming back, then there's value into what they got, and then you take it. How do
That's
you?
quite funny. Sorry to interrupt, but that's quite funny
Yeah.
because a lot of guys from IT drink a lot of cocktails.
See, maybe that's the reason.
Maybe.
So I would like to go one step deeper. You just mentioned something very interesting. It's like this attention to detail is and this I guess is as well the differentiator between a good concept and a brilliant concept, where you design the experience to the detailed level of getting a card, saying hi, the person who is coming into the bar get noticed by the bartender, gets a nod, gets a wave or whatever, this kind of small details. How do you teach that? Because I can guess, have been working in retail myself. like there are good salespeople and people who are creating an experience inside of a sales environment, and there are people who are just selling. So how do you teach this attention to details to someone? Let's say if I would be hired from the bar and I've zero idea about that.
That's one more plus that you get from a consultancy. We participate in recruiting staff, and
Mm,
there are some things that you have to be very careful when recruiting staff. First of all, ambition. All right, you want a person that wants to grow, that wants to work for it. Empathy. Empathy is very, very important because it can help them have a very good team environment. Also, personality. You need to have different personalities for each person that you're working with. And then you create a case study like we're doing now. So
yeah.
you imagine a guest is stepping inside of your venue. And like I said, from the very first step, you create different processes which makes them feel welcome.
Mm,
And you do that through standard operational procedures. Every a guy or gal from the staff knows what they have to do for each step that the guest does into your venue. Like you were saying, it's very important when the guest steps in, you have eye contact, you have to be polite, you have to say hello, you have to offer them something maybe from the house, because everybody smiles when they're given something as a sign of hospitality. A smile
mm,
is always contagious. If somebody is like in a bad mood or something and you smile, they might smile back. They're the little things. Like I said, the difference between a good bar and a great bar is in the details.
yeah.
Also, you need to have a very good archive, and that's the marketing part. You need a database. See the similarity with IT?
Yeah.
You need to study and observe, for example, consumption habits. If you, Jens, have been to my cocktail bar and you had a couple of Negronis or a Harvey Wallbanger, let's say, and the next time I come to your table, I say, Jens, welcome back. Will you have another Harvey Wallbanger? Did you enjoy it? You appreciate these details. You
Yeah.
feel welcome.
Yeah.
You feel in a family environment. And like you said, it can be taught. There are little things, but there are things of humanity. There are things that people normally do when they have guests at home or stuff like that. You just need to adapt them into a sales environment.
Yeah. What I love about that, because it seems so easy. Yeah, I'm opening a bar and I'm selling cocktails. Yeah, I need someone who knows how to make cocktails. Let's if you just it's a business. It's a huge engine to be very successful in it.
It's There are a lot of variables in this business, and your biggest asset is your human resource. That is clear on any end in any country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you have a very steady team, a team that's willing to work, so not only they involve individually, but the venue evolves a lot along with them, then you're on the right path. You can do anything if you trust your team.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we went into the case. We looked at you're starting to study the market. Then you looked into the identity and the concept, giving them the understanding of how to adapt their identity, which is the franchise identity, to the local circumstances. And then you go into planning that out, going into planning what the brand plan is. How do you work with that? How do you get the people understanding it? How do you get them trained after that as well, that everyone understands the concept? And then you went into like the details of how you make that available and knowledgeable. It's like the people inside of the organization, if we call it organization,
Okay.
really on a detailed level. Like you said, it's literally it's a process. It's standard working procedures where everyone is knowing exactly when a new guest is coming in, that's what should be happening, and someone needs to take care of this and this and this, that it is a real experience. It's tremendous interesting, because I've never deconstructed a cocktail bar and an experience around that topics, that there's like we just said, that there's so much business in it. And I think that's a very interesting part, and where it, as well, for me at least as an outsider, makes sense that there is a consultant like you who have all of that knowledge, who has like a framework and understanding of how do you start from zero to get somewhere where it's opening, and it's a success model on a long term. So
Okay.
yeah, go.
Yeah, go. No, you.
So one thing I'm always asking is, from a dream client perspective, who are the dream clients you would love to work with, and why would you love to work with them?
Well, the dream clients usually are visionaries. There are people that have gone through this sort of experience, so they understand what they want to deliver to their customers, to their guests. The dream client needs to understand very well the initial investment, because most people think they just rent a venue, they pay staff, they buy products, and wow, I have a cocktail bar. No, the initial investment for because a cocktail, for example, in a drinks let's say list, is a luxury item. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to have a business that sells luxury products, you need a huge investment. That's why it's a drinks program and not just selling drinks, let's say. So a dream client needs to understand the value of an experience, needs to understand the initial investment, and needs to be very calm, and needs to calculate. A lot of entrepreneurs, after opening for 2 or 3 months, if they haven't sold anything, they start to panic. And when they start to panic, they start to sacrifice quality. Let's pay the staff less. Let's do cost control better. Let's not do that event anymore. But you already thought of your initial identity. You already have your initial plan. You need to stick to it, whatever. That's why those 9 months that I talked about earlier, in which you plan your initial loss, are so important, because after 2 or 3 months, people that don't do that, they start to panic. And after that, usually the venue has no chance.
Yeah. So do you then see from an implementation of a program like this, that after 3 months it's going up? I mean, maybe sometimes it's going up after the first day, depending on the city and location, I guess, and how it works and the demand locally. But do you see a pattern with your experience working with different venues already?
Yeah, usually there's a craze, and let's say a cocktail drinks program. And if you have a good identity and good marketing and very good staff and all the things we talk about up until now, it goes very well for the first 3, 4, maybe 6 months. Then people want something new. Yeah. So let's say you have a menu of, I don't know, 20 cocktails. All right. People come to your venue for 6 months. They enjoy the hospitality. They enjoy the drinks, but they always want to try something new. You can't afford to keep adding drinks to your menu, because that's not very good cost control. So you need to add more to the identity. That's why the identity is so important. So the pattern is 6 months, it goes well. Then you start evolving into your identity, into your marketing, get people very involved emotionally with your venue. It's going to be bad for a couple of months afterwards. It depends very much on where and in which city the venue is situated, because some of them are weaker in the summer, some of them are weaker in the winter. That depends. But usually studies say that a venue will survive only after it has had activity for at least 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
at
It's
least.
quite funny because it's from a business perspective, it's similar where you say like 1 year is no problem to survive, but it's like the 3 to 5 years where you really get the understanding of this business case and the business how it's set up is going to live long term or not.
Exactly. You have no
Like,
guarantee that the business will live long term in the first 2 years, maybe even the 3 years, but you get some guarantee. You have your own clientele now. You have an identity on the Romanian market, let's say, because we were giving that example.
yeah,
You are more
yeah,
likely to succeed after the first 3 years.
yeah. And that also means, if I understand you right, that they need to look already in reinventing themselves over time. It's like you said, adding to the identity part, which is not completely changing, but it's like giving new flavors in so that people experience something new. They see changes happening gradually.
Usually, in every menu, I encourage for at least 50% of products a wow factor.
Mm,
There's that one or two or three products that once they arrive at your table, everybody gets out their phone and takes a picture.
yeah,
Yeah, you need at least 50% of the products to contain at least one thing for at least one person at that table to take out their phone and take a picture, because that will give you notoriety. All right. And at least if you don't have stable clientele, at least you'll have more people coming in
yeah,
very frequently. That's why a very important part of marketing is to build your own tribe. Building your own tribe means having, I don't know, 20, 50 people that are more enthusiastic about your venue than you are. And
yeah,
exactly, people that love your place so much, they would tell any friend. They don't promote it on social media or anything, but they recommend it to everyone. And they're very enthusiastic to be there, or when they hear about the brand. And word of mouth in that spirit, in that enthusiastic spirit, spreads like wildfire.
yeah. And that's something you can design, right?
You can try. It's something you can design, but the period of time might depend. It might take longer or it might take a short time. It depends.
Yeah, so you're kind of you're designing for the opportunity that it can happen, but you can't be sure that it will happen.
It will happen. You can be sure it will happen, but it might take a longer period of time. I mean, like you said, it might take 2 months, it might take 2 years, but you will
Yeah,
build your tribe if you are you deliver the same quality every time, and you remain faithful to your identity. For sure, that will happen.
yeah. Last part I would like to get into for today's show is, so you have now established a venue because it's a big franchisor. They're most probably then saying, okay, we have established one venue. Vlad, how are we doing the next one with the same concept? How do you transform or translate from one venue to a next venue? Do you completely create a new identity, a new concept that is fitting to the locality and to the local surroundings again, or do you copy paste? How do you do that?
It depends a lot on the market you're working with, but usually I wouldn't encourage copy paste. I
Mm.
mean, like when you watch a movie and you're very impressed, and then you watch the second part of the same movie and you're expecting it to be as good, and then you're disappointed again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I would encourage that they uh, maintain the essence of the concept, but they evolve into something new, because you might even interfere with the other venue's profits if you do a copy paste.
yeah.
It depends on how big the city is, how big the demand for that certain type of product is. But in my opinion, I would keep the essence but evolve the business.
So that people might feel that it's the same company or the same owner, but it's like still different. So they understand that there's difference between these two venues, and
Exactly.
and
Like
then
I was giving the
yeah,
example of Polynesian bars, let's say, all right? Because I'm actually a fan of tiki drinks myself. And okay, you have a cocktail program that's working incredibly well in your city. You have very big demands, so you want to expand. You want to open a new venue. My opinion was, all right, keep the essence, keep the culture that is inside, but try to use new techniques. All right, go even deeper to the mixology part, even more into the wow factor. Deliver a product that has the essence of old school tiki drink, but with new menu, with new techniques and ingredients that people wouldn't even think of.
Yeah. Would you then, if we go deeper, would you then take staff as well from one location to the other location to spread the vibe and understanding of it, or would you start from getting new members on the
Well,
team?
in my opinion, I would never share stuff. People need to feel, yeah. Well, people need to feel it's a different concept. It's
Yeah.
a different, even if you keep the same identity, you just do a copy paste, all right? But they need to feel like it's a different venue somehow.
Yeah.
Because why would I visit this place and not the other? Because it's the same thing.
Yeah, I love that because it's taking it from a business concept thinking. And my stupid view in this is like, hey, they're already trained. We have invested into this people. Let's take them over, and they can do the same there. But you're saying, which I think is right. You're saying, hey, they need to be part of the identity, and the person is part of the identity of the venue as well. So
Exactly.
bringing that person over takes identity from one place, from one venue to another venue, and that might hurt that one, but as well as not establishing a new identity in the other one, if I understood
And
you
it,
right.
yeah, and it discourages you from visiting the second venue
Yeah.
because you're already accustomed to the first venue. You know the people there. You feel at home. Why would you go to the second one if you have the same
Yeah.
staff, same drinks, same everything?
Love that. Super cool. We have made it. Or did we forget anything?
Oh, actually, we didn't go deep almost at all into what I had in my notes.
Yeah, so for everyone who is interested in learning more about that and going deeper, which we will not be able to do on this show, um, there is of course a wealth of knowledge, as you have heard already. I highly recommend you to go to the heitlandinnovation.com website /innovation culture coding and look out to the profile of Vlad, where we as well bring more of his knowledge in. And of course, where you find a window and a place where you can connect to him. And if you want, of course, hire him for supporting you with your venues and building identity, building structures, building concepts, teaching your stuff, and more, of course. Happy to create the connection because that's what we are all about, creating connection and creating a window for you and other independent consultants and coaches. Vlad, was amazing having you on the show. Was a lot of fun. I have learned a lot today, and I hope that we will meet in the future and have a cocktail together, maybe a
I
Huawei wallbang
I
again.
hope so too, man. I hope to discourage you from beer. I really do.
Oh yeah,
And
that's a hard one.
thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for the people at home for being with us during this show. It was amazing. I really had fun.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And for everyone who is watching, see you next Tuesday for the next show. And thank you very much.